I put up $9,500 for my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Private chef, custom mood lighting, premium open bar, the full upscale treatment. Then, a week before the date, my aunt looked me in the eye and said, "Sorry, honey, your name didn't make the final guest list." "It's about the vibe," she added with a little shrug. My mom chimed in over the phone later, "You'll get it one day, sweetheart." So I called the bank, reported every single charge as unauthorized, froze the joint event account, and personally cancelled the liquor permit. Come party day, no chef, no lights, no alcohol, no music. My dad blew up my phone, 14 missed calls in under 2 hours. When I finally picked up, I kept it short. Guess I didn't match the vibe. Then I hung up and went back to my coffee. It wasn't supposed to end like this. The whole thing started because I wanted to give them something beautiful. Their 40th was coming up, and the usual half-assed backyard grill with folding tables and warm beer wasn't going to cut it anymore. I wanted them to have memories worth keeping. I brought the idea up at Sunday dinner. Dad raised an eyebrow and muttered, "You sure you want to take that on?" Mom smiled softly and said, "Don't stress if it doesn't work out." My sister Jenna just nodded, "Cool, keep me posted," which everyone at the table knew meant she wasn't lifting a finger. Still, I dove in headfirst. I booked a chef who fused French technique with American comfort food, hired a 5-piece jazz ensemble, rented chandeliers, ghost chairs, ivory linens, the works. Every deposit, every wire transfer, every contract. My name, my card, my responsibility. $9,500 later, not one person had offered to split the cost. Not even Jenna, who I later discovered had been secretly working with Aunt Lisa on a vision board titled Golden Summer Radiance. A whole theme I was never looped in on. That's when the first cracks appeared. I was funding the dream while they designed it behind my back. 2 weeks before the event, I stopped by the house with the venue contracts. Aunt Lisa and Jenna were camped at the kitchen island, bracelet in hand, flipping through a printed guest list. "What's this?" I asked. Lisa didn't even look up. "Just trimming for cohesion, curated energy." I scanned the page. My name wasn't there. "Is this a mistake?" Jenna gave an awkward laugh. "It's not personal, bro. We're just keeping the flow right. You're not actually mad, are you?" I left without another word. Drove aimlessly for an hour trying to make sense of it. I was paying for the entire experience. Every vendor had my contact info, and they deliberately erased me like I was an unwanted +1. That night I called Mom. Didn't accuse, just said I'd seen the list. She sighed the way she does when she's about to say something she thinks is wise. "Sweetie, sometimes you push too hard to belong where the fit isn't natural. One day it'll click." Something in me snapped. The next morning I opened disputes on every transaction, locked the accounts, and started phoning vendors. The chef was sympathetic. Family drama, been there, and refunded everything but the tasting fee. Lighting crew, band, bar service, all cancelled. I even called the county clerk and revoked the temporary alcohol permit before the final payment posted. The day of the party I slept in, made blueberry pancakes, put on a record, and took a nap. Text started at 11 a.m. Jenna, "Chef is a no-show WTF Marcus, bars locked. Dad, call me now." When I finally answered Dad, panic cracked his voice. "Son, nothing's here." What the hell happened? I told him the moment everything died for me was somewhere between Aunt Lisa's vibe, comment, and Mom's, "You'll get it one day." That was the exact second I stopped giving a damn. Then I hung up. At first there was radio silence, like they were too stunned to admit anything. Then the slow drip of messages began. Jenna sent a novel that started with, "Look, I get it," and ended with, "We really didn't think you'd go nuclear over a seating chart." Aunt Lisa posted a cryptic Instagram quote about forgiveness and poisonous roots. Mom left a teary voicemail, "We missed you today. Dad never called again." I thought the message had landed. Treat me like an outsider, fine, I'll act like one, but reflection never came. No apologies, just a calculated quiet, like they were waiting me out. So I started pulling plugs I'd been quietly holding for years. First, Jenna's rent. For 6 months, I'd been Venmoing her landlord directly because she was in transition. Never asked for thanks, never got it. I stopped cold. Took her 12 days to notice. She called, skipped hello, went straight to my payment bounced. What's going on? I told her that was no longer my department. She hung up. Next, Dad's medical copays after his heart surgery. I'd been covering them for a year without a peep. I let the statements go red. A month later, Mom sent a family group text. Things are tight with your father's meds. If anyone can spare even $20, it would mean the world. Crickets from me. Then came the car. I kept my first project car, a 1994 Celica I rebuilt with my college roommate under a cover in their garage because my apartment didn't have space. I went to pick it up one weekend and the spot was empty. Called Dad, long pause. We sold it. Figured you weren't using it. I didn't yell, just stood in the empty bay feeling the last thread snap. That was it. Total radio silence from me from that day forward. By month 3, my name had vanished from the big family group chat. My cousin accidentally screenshot the new one they made without me. I wasn't even hurt anymore, just confirmed. Grandma was the only one who still called every Sunday, confused why I never came by. I kept my answers light. She was 91, no need to drag her into it. Predictably, Jenna lost another job. She slid into my DMs with a throwback photo from 1998. Miss my big brother, things are weird lately, but rent is due and I'm in a real bind. Can you spot me just till payday? I left her on read. Then the cousin I actually liked, Devin, reached out. Handwritten letter, weirdly formal, asking to meet. Said he couldn't put it in writing. We met at a roadside diner. He looked like he hadn't slept. It wasn't your dad who sold the Celica, he said the second he sat down. It was Jenna. She forged his signature on the title, pocketed $3,000 to pay off a payday loan. Your parents found out after the fact and decided to take the fall so the family wouldn't fracture. I just nodded. Of course. Then he dropped the real bomb. They're working on Grandma, trying to get her to redo her will. The lake cabin, she left it to you years ago. They want it switched before she passes. Ice in my veins. Monday morning, I was at the county recorder's office with every piece of ID I owned. Sure enough, someone claiming to be me had requested a deed transfer packet the week prior. I locked everything down, added two-factor, retained a lawyer, set calendar alerts like a paranoid millionaire. I never told them I knew. I wanted them to walk face first into the wall they'd built. I changed my number, moved to a new building with a private garage, and waited. Desperation has a short fuse. It started with Jenna showing up at my door unannounced. Somehow she'd found the new address. Makeup smeared, voice shaky, story about her car getting repossessed, and a lawsuit over a bounced check written on Dad's account. Just one last time, please. I swear I'll pay you back. I asked if she remembered selling my car. Her face went blank. That was different. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, looked her in the eye and said, I know about the cabin too. The mask slipped. For a second she looked cornered, then the entitlement flooded back. We are still family, you can't just... I walked inside and locked the door. Days later, Dad texted from a new number. We'd like to talk. Clear the air, everyone's struggling. I didn't answer. Then Grandma died. I found out from a public Facebook post Jenna made, big dramatic tribute, zero mention that one of her grandsons existed. No invitation to the funeral. Nothing. I didn't go, didn't cry. Just felt the last tether dissolve. 3 weeks later, they tried the big reconciliation play, a group video call. I ignored the first 2 invites. Third time I joined just to see how far they'd go. Same old faces filled the squares. Dad started with the "We miss you" script. Jenna did her fake lump in throat, "I'm sorry you felt excluded." Aunt Lisa sat there like a judge. Mom finished with, "I've forgiven you for everything you did. I hope you can forgive us too." I asked, point blank, if they were sorry about the car, the cabin forgery, the guest list, the years of treating me like a walking ATM with no seat at the table. Dead silence. Aunt Lisa finally piped up, "We're not here to dig up the past." I smiled, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes, and said, "Then we're done here, Dad, so you're cutting us off for good." I already did. I left the call. That was the last time any of them reached out. A full year of silence followed. No birthdays, no holidays, no emergencies requiring my signature or my savings, until last weekend. I drove up to the lake cabin for the first time since Grandma passed. Walked through the dusty rooms, opened windows to let the pine air in, and found a letter wedged under a loose floorboard in the back bedroom closet. Her handwriting dated 5 years earlier. She knew. She'd always known they'd come circling the minute they smelled inheritance. She wrote that she left the cabin to me because I was the only one who ever visited just to visit, who sat on the dock and listened to her stories without checking my watch. Last line, if they ever turn on you, come home. This place is yours, always was. I sat on the floor and read it until the words blurred. They tried to erase me. They lied, they stole, they rewrote history to anyone who'd listen, probably still do, but they didn't get the cabin. They didn't get me. I'm building a new circle now, friends who show up without a price tag, colleagues who ask how my weekend was and actually care about the answer, neighbors who wave when I pull in. Some people are born into families, some have to walk away to find peace. I chose peace, and for the first time in my life, it's quiet in the best possible way.